1.
Well, thank you very much, Quick Shot. We're going to do our best to understand.
There's nothing we can say, honestly, at this point.
And make clear what just took place. But, gentlemen, before we even attempt to distill it down to anything, let's go ahead and take a look at that picture-perfect Dragon Steel at the very end, coupled with the Baron fight to end it out for Samsung Galaxy. This is brought to you by Acer.
And we said ambition has to come up huge, and twice in this game he was able to steal away clutch dragons and keep his team in that. I mean, what a performance from the jungler.
And then they've tried to go Baron quite a few times. They never really settle for either the fight or the Baron itself. This time around, they actually do the same, where they go for the fight. They don't finish the Baron. They don't want to risk a potential steal from Bengi. And the fight is really, really tough for Samsung to win. You see how close it is back and forth. And in the end, they have to go back to Baron, and they manage to actually rush it down.
Man, Samsung this game, it reminds me of my ex-girlfriend. So many commitment issues. Every time they go for Baron, they go back in for the fight, but they kept at it every single time here. Eventually, they get the Baron, but we were at the edges of our seats and just standing and cheering as well, because every time they looked like they had the Baron, they turned around to fight.
Yeah.
They had that one fight where QV then knocks them out of the park.
The one fight, the 500 fights, I'm pretty sure there were a lot of fights. We even broke the play-by-play. We probably need a new one for this one. Trevor is done.
He said it himself. My voice is gone, but Kobe said he's got himself.
Good. Kobe will be play-by-play.
I rely on that for the rest of the games, but we do. I mean, that point stands true. The fact that there were so many different team fights, and we were sitting here going, okay, let's look at that one. Okay, wait, no, let's replay that one. It was just almost too hard to choose.
And so many clutch moments. I mean, we're talking about huge keeper's verdicts out of the Poppy. Then we got a kick where the top laner goes through Bang, like chunks him out so Ruler can dive in there and solo out the AD carry. Ruler, by the way, had such an impressive game. This guy was all in.
What a monster for his first time on the World Finals stage. To be pulling things off like that, being down 2 games to 0.
Yeah, and that's if you look at the draft, that's what he was set up for, to succeed in the late game as well, but he got murdered in the laning phase. Had a tier versus like a serrated Dirk very early on. He got butchered, but then eventually he is the main damage component of this roster. But late game, it looked as if Samsung was about to run out of damage, but then Core JJ happened.
Of course, then the Zyra steps in here, full DPS Zyra in the end, just a second mid laner basically. And yeah, it was a little bit of an odd pick and man face, honestly, from them, like with the Ezreal, which turned out to be huge in the late game. But you look at something like Caitlyn normally more lane dominant, set up plays with the Aurelion Soul roaming. We didn't see that, but we got to see Ruler late game on Ezreal and why he wanted that as a comfort pick.
And this is actually RNG's team composition that they put together. Pretty much exactly the same. It is an LPL composition because they do like to play Ezreal high mobility with the Aurelion Soul because it does keep him nice and safe. And you could see at certain points in that game where he was counting cooldowns, he was just able to go super aggressive because of the amount of support that he had.
All right, let's work our way through a few more replays here. We're going to go all the way back to the 29th minute here. This is a fight in the mid lane for the first Baron. Samsung Galaxy going to come out on top of this one. This is really, they really got their foothold back in the game.
Before this was basically a stomp. You know, SKT had this game in the back, and they were messing around too much, honestly. And then they go for this Baron without proper setup, and it's actually Bang who stepped forward at first. You guys saw that just before. Gets caught out, and now everyone just dies. And this was the big turning point because it gave Baron over to Samsung and multiple towers.
But one more time, I just want to point out that Ruler took 3 1v1s in that fight pretty much. Challenges Bang, challenges Wolf, then outplays Faker to pick up a kill as well. That was so impressive.
And more importantly, he kept doing it throughout the series. And more importantly than that, he kept doing it after he failed. Because in one of the next fights, he jumped in straight into the Orianna ball. He got obliterated. And then in the next fight after that, he just did it again. This guy has, I don't know, nerves of steel to do it in his rookie season right here. Just straight from Challenger to Worlds, playing this well and being not afraid to just jump over walls. So often we were about to count out Samsung when they were 3v5, but either Ruler came in or Core JJ, out of all people. You know, former like support for Dignitas suddenly comes out, or AD carry rather, switches to support and starts carrying these games. All of a sudden, it's, I don't know, the world's upside down.
Yeah, constant aggression once they hit that 6-item threshold on the Ezreal. Now, the next replay I want to take a look at is 50 minutes into the game. This is SKT starting up around the Baron one more time. They're going to secure it this time. However, Samsung Galaxy wins the fight.
It's kind of the same setup. It's Ruler once again jumping on whoever's out of position from SKT. This time it was Wolf, and now the fight just breaks out.
Also, he has the side edge covered here because Faker has flash, but Faker's so afraid to maybe flash over because he's going to get threatened by Ruler over the side. It's so hard for him to get out, but the fact that Samsung get Faker here is so fundamental to this fight.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you're about to see like some great play because that is an ult that clips him straight on, and just wait for Ambition's kick here because it sets up the rest of the team fight.
Yeah, everybody follows up the second that connects the bowling ball, and that's obviously the way for Ruler to go in and just finish up that fight. Honestly, mad props to QV as well, the amount of attention he's soaking in these team fights and how determined he is with the keeper's verdicts as well. He's definitely a threat in those fights.
Now, all these team fights, look fantastic. If we look at Samsung, there were so many great fights in this game. They managed to pull it back after being so far down. And that's where, looking at gold graph, we got to pause a little bit and just be like, SKT had this game.
Yep. Just like game one.
Completed. Just like game one, they were looking really good early on. Samsung tried a few risky plays. The Aurelion Sol did nothing in the early game from Crown. There was no setup in the side lanes because side lanes were losing. And it was a big, big issue. So looking at a potential game 4 now, we have to say that Samsung does not look like a bigger favorite than before. Even though they managed to win this game late game, we have seen though they can match SKT late, and that's the key thing.
Yeah, we gotta be negative Nancy's here and go back to the early game. Not a single roam on Aurelion Sol. No synergy.
One, and he messed it up.
He messed it up. And then they kept, he died. And they kept targeting Faker in the mid lane. When you have a super aggressive jungle like Lee Sin, you have the Aurelion Sol, you have a Poppy in the top lane. Guess what? You can just go 3-man top, dive the jungle right there and suddenly start winning the game. And that was not part of the playbook for Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, it's beyond that. I just think that Crown and Ambition are on 2 different pages right now, because normally when you have a Lee Sin and Aurelion Sol, that bottom lane gank works because the Lee Sin's there with a kick and the damage is going to be available for the follow-up. So do have to raise that big question. And one more time, they can't get him a stronger jungle matchup. Even when Lee Sin was popular, people liked picking a Lee Sin to it because it does, sometimes mess up his early game. And Ambition, he's had some clutch late game moments. He still hasn't had a good early game.
We just need to see Samsung honestly not make these insanely risky plays in the early game. Try and just go even early and try and get to late game team fights, because they're very clearly 2 games now matching SKT in late game, but not early to make game. That's where they're falling behind, and that's why they've been losing the other games.
Samsung Galaxy picks up a victory here. They're extending us to a game 4. Important to note that Blank will be subbed in for that 4th game, and SKT has chosen the blue side. Go figure. But game 4 is coming your way. Worlds continues live from Staples Centers in 3.5 minutes. We'll see you soon.
Of light locks down Bang. Celestial expansion is out, but here comes Bengi. Bengi gets a cocoon. First blood onto Bang. Rulers jump forward, already used the true shot barrage. Wolf is killed by Ambition. It looks like Samsung are coming back.
But Cube is keeping sight on
Ambition going for Faker. Fake is down. They've got him. Fake is down. Ruler true shot barrage gonna be dodged by the Bang. He's out of mana. That's a great hammer. Ambition is still fighting in the front line. Ruler running low on mana. The Arcane shifts forward. Trading up. That's a shutdown. That's another.
This is 3 versus 5, and Samsung are cornered. SKT close in.
But they lose Ruler. Now Fake is the target. Ambition's got a GA. Cube's doing what he can.
Trying to establish vision control and force SKT to take that Ambition.
Ambition steals the Elder Dragon. Samsung stun the world and defeat SKT for the